Today's lesson is 1.7, finding perimeter, circumference, and area. The essential question is, how are the dimensions of polygons found? So the other day you learned about polygons, and today you're going to learn about how to find dimensions like perimeter and area. And then we're also going to look at circles and find area and circumference of circles. So on your note sheet, go ahead and fill in what the perimeter is. The perimeter is the distance around a figure. And underneath that, you can go ahead and put circumference as the distance around a circle. And you can pause the video now if you need to. Otherwise, where it says 2D shape on your paper, I'm going to have you write in the formulas for perimeter. So under 2D shape, you can see it says square, rectangle, triangle. Those are the three we're going to do right now. So for a square, the formula is P equals 4S. Now it's 4S because each of these is a side. So if we add them up, we get S plus S plus S plus S. So another way to write perimeter is 4S is to write perimeter equals S plus S plus S plus S. This is the easy formula though, the first one, so you don't have to write that much. They're both the exact same thing though, so write whichever one makes sense to you. Right? The next one is a rectangle. So the formula for a rectangle is perimeter equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So you can see here I've drawn a rectangle, and I called two of the sides, so this is length and length, and these sides across from each other would be width and width. So go ahead and write this down on your paper. Perimeter equals 2L plus 2W. Another way to write that, again, you don't have to write this out, I'm just explaining it another way. Perimeter is L plus W plus W. You can see all I did there was add W plus L plus, this is W, plus L. And that gives you the perimeter, the distance around the rectangle. The third one you need to write down right now is a triangle. So a triangle, to find the perimeter, you just add the three sides, A plus B plus C. So here's my triangle. This side's called A, this is C, this is B. So to find the distance around the triangle, you add your three sides. Ignore the H right now. This is for when we're finding area. Okay, go ahead and pause it if you're still writing. Otherwise, I'm going to move on. Now we're looking at area. So this looks just like your notes paper. Hopefully you wrote down all the perimeters right here. Okay, now we're on area. So to find the area, see we have the same square again. This is S. All of these are S. You just take S times S, or in other words, S squared. So the area of a square is just S squared. And here's the other way to write it. S times S. The circumference is blacked out because there's no circumference for squares, rectangles, and triangles. So we won't get there till we get to circles. Alright? Looking at rectangles, here's the same picture again. To get the area of a rectangle, you just multiply length times width. You multiply these numbers together, you get your area. Right, let's look at triangles. Now this one gets a little complicated. This is probably the hardest one. So the side lengths, like I explained before, are A, B, and C. This height is H. Your H always has to create a right angle, so that's that little box there. It always has to create a right angle with the other side. So you can't have H coming down like this because that's not a right angle. If you have questions about this, let me know in class. It's really important that you understand which one H is. So to find the area of a triangle, it's going to be 1/2 BH, or base times height. So basically you take this number, base, multiply it by your height, take that answer times 1/2. Or in other words, another way to explain that exact same thing, you take your base, multiply it by your height, you divide it by 2. That's what multiplying by 1/2 does. Alright, now let's look at circles. In a circle, I actually need both of these so you can see the circle. In a circle, just talking about area, okay, don't jump ahead, you're going to have a diameter and a radius. Okay, so your diameter, here's the center of the circle. Your diameter goes from one end of the circle to the other, and it has to go through the center. That's the diameter. And the radius comes from the center and the other points on the circle. So it's just half of the diameter. So if this diameter is 4, the radius is 2. If this diameter is 10, the radius is 5. Let's go backwards. If the radius is 1, diameter is going to be double, 2. If the radius is 10, the radius is double. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. If the radius is 10, the diameter is 20. Alright, so for the area of a circle, it's pi. Make sure you're using your pi button on the calculator so that you get an exact answer. It's pi times r squared. And then for circumference, you have two formulas. Pick whichever one you want, or write both of them down. Pi times diameter, or 2 times pi times the radius. Okay, make sure you have those all copied, so you may want to pause here before I go on. So looking at this first example, you have the inbounds area of a tennis court is shown right here. Find the perimeter and area. So first we have to determine that this is a rectangle. And so to find the perimeter, we just have to look at our formula. The formula for perimeter is P equals 2L plus 2W. So perimeter is 2 times, and the length is 78, plus 2 times the width, 27. So you get perimeter equals 2 times 78 is 158. And 2 times 27 is 54. Then you just add these two numbers together, and you get 212. And don't forget your unit, feet. So that is the first answer. Now we're going to find the area. Again, this is a rectangle, so area equals length times width. So area is, length again is 78, times the width, 27. And when we multiply those two numbers together, we get 2,106. And don't forget the unit again. This time, because we're talking about area, it's feet squared, or you hear people say square feet. But that's how you label it if you just want to use shorthand. Okay, go ahead and pause that if you're still writing. Otherwise, we'll move on. Example 2, find the area and the circumference of the circle. So let's look at area first. The formula for area is pi r squared. And so we just substitute what we know. A equals pi. R is 8 squared. A equals pi times 8 squared is 64. And when you multiply pi times 64, you get 201.06 meters squared. So that's the first part of the answer, and then the second part, we're going to be looking for the circumference. Now, if you look at your formulas, we have two formulas. One involves radius and one involves diameter. In this problem, we have radius, so we're going to use c equals 2 pi r. So c equals 2 pi times 8. And I'm going to write 2 times 8 is 16 pi. And now I'm going to multiply that. 16 times pi is 50.27 meters. Right, if you're still writing down those answers, go ahead and pause the video. Otherwise, we'll go ahead. Example 3. Now we are going to be finding side lengths given the area. Okay, so example 3 says the area of a triangle is 216 feet squared, and the base is 24 feet. Find the height of the triangle. So we're looking for the height here. So here's a triangle I drew, and it says the base is 24 feet. So I'm going to go ahead and label the base 24. And here we're given the area. So because we have the area, I'm going to write the formula for area of a triangle. A equals 1/2 BH. So the area is 216 feet squared. So I'm going to write 216 equals 1/2. The base is 24. And the height is what we're looking for. So we're just going to write h. So basically you have an equation here. And you have one variable in that equation you're looking for. So we're just solving for h. The easiest way to do this, I'm going to drop down my 216. I'm going to multiply 1/2 times 24. Or in other words, what is half of 24? 12. And then I drop down my h. I'm still trying to solve for h here, so I divide by 12. And I get h equals 18 feet. That's the answer to the problem. The only thing I want to point out is what that actually means in this picture. Because as you remember, you have sides A, B, C. Or actually, this was B. A, B, C. The height, remember, is a segment that drops straight down and makes a right angle here. So this line segment is what you just found. That's 18. Okay, if you're still writing that down, go ahead and pause. I'm going to move on to example 4. Now we're going to use the distance formula to find perimeters. So example 4, a triangle has the following vertices. J is 1, 6. Go ahead and plot that. 1, and then go up 6. And label. K is 6, 6. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And up 6. So here is K. And L is 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Right, and go ahead and draw lines between those points. Alright, so what are we finding? The perimeter. Find the approximate perimeter of the triangle by using the distance formula. We're using the distance formula because we have these line segments on the coordinate plane and we don't know how long they are. However, you should notice that there's one line segment in this triangle that you can tell how long it is. Hopefully you were thinking this one. You just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Distance is 5. So that's JK. So I'm going to write that down. JK equals 5. Okay, now let's go ahead and find JL. So that's between these 2 points. Okay, I'm going to go on to the next page to work it out. Here's the distance formula. So I'm going to write, I'm finding the distance between the points JL. Gonna use my formula here. And like I've told you, I always kind of set up the formula with everything that doesn't change, meaning the minus, the squared, the plus. And I'm going to label my 2 points. Actually, I think it's easier if I rewrite them. So here's J, 1, 6. And here's L, 3, 2. And we're going to call one of these points x1, y1, and one of these points x2, y2. And now I just plug it all into the formula. So I'm just following this. x2 is 3 minus x1 is 1. 3 minus 1. And the other one, y2, is 2 minus 6. So we're going to go ahead and solve this. 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 squared is 4. 2 minus 6 is negative 4. Negative 4 squared is 16. Which is square root of 20, and the square root of 20 is 4.47. So going back, JL is 4.47. I'm going to write that on the picture here. So we only have one distance to get still, KL. KL, I'm going to do the exact same thing. So if you watched me do JL, how about you try to do KL on your own? Just pause the video and try to set this up. So K is 6, 6. L is 3, 2. Label again. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. And then plug it all in. So 3 minus 6, 2 minus 6. 3 minus 6 is negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9. 2 minus 6 is negative 4. Negative 4 squared is 16. And the square root of 25 is 5. So KL is 5. Okay, this is a really long problem. We still haven't answered the question. Now we got to find the perimeter of the triangle. Thankfully, perimeter is the easier of the formulas. So you just add up your three numbers. So 5 plus 5 plus 4.47 is 14.47. And that's your answer. Alright, that's the lesson. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will help you in class.